Good morning. As I lean into this mastermind that I'm in, and I can feel myself expanding and growing into this much bigger version of myself. There's certain emotions that people feel. There's certain things that you would feel that you would tend to want to lock away and hide and isolate. That's my leaning, and I'm learning to, in being fully expressed, you don't stop any emotion from coming through. You don't suppress any of it. And so I'm learning ways to alchemize these different emotions that I feel through movement, through painting and art, through writing, through singing, through screaming in pillows. Like whatever it is that you feel, you have to let it move through your body. And what's been on my heart and on my mind and in my body, not only have I been going through a really hard financial time in the last, over the last 7-8 months after the collapse of the markets. It's been the last 3 months, 2 or 3 months that have been extra hard. It's extra squeezing me. And in that, all these different events have happened. My car's down, just having all kinds of stuff going on. But one of the big things it's really present that I'm going to talk about today is heartbreak. And I'm in the midst of damn, I thought I could talk about it. Quite a devastating heartbreak with me and the person that I was going to marry. And there's so much in heartbreak that is so potent for us to learn from. And a lot of times we are so programmed to run from the discomfort, to run from the feelings, to hide how we feel, even from ourselves, to not be honest. But a heartbreak is really the greatest heart opener. And while I could make a case for hardening my heart and closing myself off from love and not believing in the kind of love that I want to call into my life, that would be so easy to do, or distract myself with someone else or some other type of distraction. But I'm choosing to lean in. I'm choosing to lean into this heartbreak, to feel all of it, because the more that I feel it, the more that I know how real it was for me. And how grateful I am that I was able to experience the beautiful experiences that I've had over the last close to 1.5 years with this person whom I love dearly. Some beautiful, powerful moments. There's also some hard times and some really dark things that we went through that have caused a lot of shame and guilt, but I've worked through all that too, and I've alchemized these things, and I'm allowing these things to open my heart and not close them. And so the greatest lesson I feel that comes from heartbreak, comes from when people let you down or you're hurt and you no longer have someone in your life that you really love. I have to brag. Turn that off. I have to brag and recognize myself for the type of person that I am when I am in a committed relationship. I am I am certainly the greatest love that any of my partners gets to experience for a period of time. That doesn't mean I stay that way all the time, but I show up in ways that no one has ever showed up for them. I am a really good partner. I have my issues, right? But the things that so many women complain about, they don't have to complain about with me, because I have all of the departments. I put so much effort, and a lot of it comes from my fear of abandonment, from this abandonment wound. Is you overcompensate, and you do so much more, and you show up so much harder than other people will, because you don't want to be abandoned. And the lesson that I've been learning is, the greatest abandonment that I ever had was the abandonment of myself, of abandoning myself, of allowing people to treat me less than what I deserve to be treated, and accepting, less effort than what I was willing to put in. That's been my repeat offense. And so if there's any lesson for me here, there's so many lessons. There's so many beautiful, powerful lessons in this heartbreak. And the greatest one is leading me to loving myself, is learning to love myself, right? As a man, we don't talk about this shit. We don't talk about our emotions. We don't talk about what it means to love yourself, to really accept yourself and love all of you and allow every bit of you. So many men feel like they can't emote, they can't show emotion because, number one, it's not allowed, because we're supposed to not show emotions, but also that our emotions are so big and they're too much for the woman that we're with to be able to handle, right? And oftentimes that's because she's depending on you for the safety. And if you're not able to handle the fullness of your emotions, which is the fullness of your feminine side, then you can't expect her to be able to hold it. And again, oftentimes you're with people that aren't doing the type of work that I'm discussing, that I've been going through. And so my greatest lesson was to learn how to love myself the way that I've loved my partner, the way that I love my daughters, the way that I love others, is to learn to be that for myself, to treat myself with that kind of love. And I mean, like, literally. I mean, if you, like, I've written, through the mastermind, one of the assignments was to write a love letter to yourself. And I did. I did it in the way that I would for another. But I truly felt what I was saying to myself. I've truly come to this place of truly, deeply loving who I am. I am proud of the man and the person that I am. I am proud of the resiliency, the way that I bounce back, the way that I keep going, the way that I alchemize this pain and this emotion, and I can be vulnerable, and I can stand in my power and be vulnerable, that I don't have to hide it, that I don't have to hide who I am, that I can be all of me. There's something to be said for all of these things. There's something to be said to be willing to feel the pain and walk through it and sit with it and not avoid it and not do things that take your mind off of it. Don't numb it, to fully feel these emotions and feel the lessons and grow from it. Yes, my heart hurts. When I feel like I need to cry, I just cry. I don't fight it. Sometimes I'm painting and I'm crying. Sometimes I'm moving around, I'm dancing, I'm moving my body in some way that my body wants to move, and it's just emotion wants to come out, and I allow it. And this is a skill, this is something that I don't think enough people have. And I'm not saying it to, yes, I'm congratulating myself for getting to this point, but what I'm saying is there's another way that's possible, right? There's a way that you can feel the pain and the hurt and the sadness and allow it to be and allow it to open you up versus closing you off, versus making you more scared and more fearful, right? Because so much of this pain that I'm feeling is missing connection, missing physical connection, missing words, missing touch, missing connecting with this soul that is a part of my own soul. And it's also a signal to where I've not been and what I've not given myself, right? The things that I'm craving, I can attempt to give them to myself. And I know this sounds like BS, and it's, it's harder, it's easier said than done. But I've had enough heartbreaks in my life, and I've moved through them most of the times in the worst way possible, numbing and distractions and getting with other people. That's not my normal. I tend to isolate for a while, but there's so many impulses that you get to like numb this pain, to like dumb this down, to like lower the intensity. And I'm here for all of it. I'm here for the full intensity. I'm here to love fully. And I'm calling in the kind of person, the kind of partner, the kind of love that I desire. And it wasn't the person that I was with. And that hurts because I was so sure of it. But if I reflect back and I look back, there was so much for me in that relationship. There is still so much for me to like pick apart and learn from. How do I want to be treated? How do I want to not be treated? How do I want to be a partner? How do I want to show up? What are the kinds of things that I want in my life? What are the kinds of things I don't want in my life? And those are very important questions to ask yourself and to reflect back on how you responded to things and who you were in certain situations, and to examine why you were that way and why did you react that way. There's just so much there. Like, we have this aversion to sadness and pain and grief, and in reality it's just another part of life. It's actually a beautiful part of life, because if you didn't feel this pain, if you didn't feel this hurt or this grief, what did you really feel when you were in that loving connection? Like, there was something that was so real for you that it still hurts, that you still feel it in your heart, that there's something that's not there anymore. And in reality, that thing is there. It's just energy can't be created or destroyed. It's just transferred, right? That's a law. And so this love, this deep, endless love that I have felt with this other person it's still there. It's not going away. It doesn't just go away because circumstances in our life and decisions have pushed people apart. That love is still there. It's not destroyed. Can you tap into that love? Can you feel that love and feel it for yourself, right? This is the major lesson for me. I have found the greatest love. I was looking for the greatest love of my life. And I'm still, in a way, like calling that in, but I have to realize that I am my own greatest love in my life, that I am my own best partner, that it's me, that it all lives inside of me, and that there will be a partner, there will be a person who wants what I want, who can show up for me and love me the way that I deserve and desire and want, we get tied up in this idea that there's a scarcity of love, but love is what makes the flowers bloom. There's no shortage of love. Love is energy. Love is what makes life on this planet possible. Love is in this little sprout that's coming out of the ground right here that I'm looking at. It's in the waves that you hear in the background. It's in everything. So there's no shortage. We just assume and create these stories and tell ourselves that, what you had or what you thought you had was the best you could ever have. And that simply isn't true. Now, yes, there are once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. There are once-in-a-lifetime kinds of connections. I believe that. I do believe I had that. But in time, like, I know that there will be someone else and something new, and the right partner for me. And this is so painful. This is so hard. This is not an easy thing to do, and it's also not an easy thing to do while navigating the biggest leap in personal growth that you've ever experienced, being challenged and pushed in ways that you've never been pushed before, having to be honest with yourself in ways that you've never been honest with yourself before, in the midst of this mastermind, growing these beautiful connections with these beautiful people, you know, dealing with all the things that I'm dealing with, and just growing. Like, I'm growing so fucking fast. And that's also probably the reason why this relationship has ended, because I'm moving too fast. I had to, these things had to fall away from me so that I could go further. And maybe that's just the way that I explain away the painful things that have happened. But at the end of the day, I'm here. And I'm here to be open and transparent and vulnerable, and to feel all of my emotions. Because doing all the work, right? It doesn't matter how much you do. You could do yoga and meditation and sound healings and mushrooms and ayahuasca and all of these things. And I really believe that all of it is just trying to get you to the point of feeling all of you and allowing all of you to be. It's like we do all these things in the name of, but have you actually just felt all of your feelings? Have you allowed yourself to feel everything? Because in that is the medicine. In that your heart opens to bigger possibilities. So this is all new for me. This is like, I'm in the midst of it, right? And I'm here and I'm being very vulnerable about it. You know, I had a podcast episode just a few episodes ago that I deleted because so embarrassed of being so sure and being so happy about this person finally choosing me and saying yes, and just like 2 weeks later, it's not a yes. It's something else. And so I probably should have deleted that episode because it was part of my journey, but I just did. It was a reaction. There's power in your deep emotions. There's power in your pain. You can alchemize that pain. You need to find an outlet for that pain. Suppressing it and hiding it does you no good. It does you damage. And so I've been paint emotions. I've been trying to allow my body to move in ways that it's never moved before. You know, you could call it a form of dance. I wouldn't call it dance. I guess it is dancing, but it's just moving my body in ways that are not normal, and allowing the heart to lead, allowing my emotions to come out. You know, from the outside looking in, it looks like I'm a weirdo, right? But the process of emoting, the process of moving that emotion through your body, it releases and allows you to alchemize that pain, that emotion, into something creative. Art, you know, being free. And this is what I entered this mastermind for, was to become my biggest version, to be fully free. And I can feel it. I can see it. I can see the difference in myself from 7-8 weeks ago to now. And I'm ready for this next level, this next place. You know, all of this happening has opened my eyes and made me open to new possibilities, you know, of leaving Puerto Rico, of going somewhere else for a period of time, of meeting new people, of getting into new communities, deeper communities that serve me at the level that I want to be and need to be supported and want to be in connection with others, you know? And so they say that everything happens for a reason. And I think that that's a cop-out in many ways. It's just a way that human beings navigate and ease things that are hard to understand and hard to deal with. You know, everything happens for a reason, but if I go sit in front of train tracks and get ran over, I was the reason. You know, I made a decision, and therefore something else happened. But the belief that things are happening to you, you know, I could be the biggest victim right now. I have so much to complain about. I have so much going wrong in my life, but I choose to see the beauty and the power that I'm gaining from all of these hard, difficult experiences in my life. And I'm choosing to believe that life is happening for me. Because if these things didn't happen for me, I wouldn't have been able to grow in the way that I'm actually growing right now. To push through this resistance of not wanting to say anything or talk about my feelings and not be vulnerable, you know? Not leaning into my power of emoting and transmuting and alchemizing these emotions into art. I'm back doing art. I'm writing again. I'm painting again. I'm doing all of these things that I used to do when I was younger that I really love to do, that's putting me in touch with my biggest version of myself. And just because the emotions are uncomfortable doesn't mean that I don't need this for my evolution. And so there's so much more I want to share about the lessons that I've learned in this beautiful connection that I've had all this time with this amazing person. Maybe for another episode. I just know that my heart is not closed. My heart is more open than ever. I'm more open than ever to calling in the right kind of partnership, the right kind of person who does want what I want. And I'm going forward with lessons that I needed to learn, which ultimately, the biggest one, always, is how to love you, how to love yourself, how to truly show up for yourself. The things that you want from a person, can you be that? Can you do those things for yourself? Yes, having another person in partnership in the physical aspects is different. That is one that is next to impossible, in my opinion, to give yourself at the level that you truly want it. But there are things you can do. And so I think heartbreak is something that so many people, everyone's experienced. How did you respond? What did you do? Where are you going after the heartbreak? Are you running into the next relationship? Not dealing with the things that you need to deal with? Are you not giving yourself the space that you need to work through and process the emotions that you're feeling? Are you hiding from your emotions? Are you numbing? Like, all of these things are just predictable patterns that we do that will keep us in the same rotation, in the same loop over and over and over. And I'm just so tired of playing that game. I am ready for something new, and I'm ready to alchemize all of this pain that I feel. Like this morning, I turned on some music and my body wanted to move, and in that movement I just started to bawl, like full on, like it was uncontrollable, what was coming out through the movement. Like, I've never experienced that free flowingness of emotion outside, in movement like that. And that is something that I've been trying to get to. And while someone looking out, from the outside looking in, saying, oh, poor this person, they're feeling so sad, they're feeling so bad that they're crying like that. it's necessary. It is necessary to feel that and allow those things to pass through you. The bottling up of those emotions is why we have so many issues as men, as a society, as a culture. If you could freely release and allow your emotions to fully come through, there's be so many less problems in the world. You know, children really are the best teachers when it comes to expression. You know, it's when adults come through and try to tell them how not to express, how their expression is not appropriate. You know, even if, you know, a child is crying and they need to cry, you know, and you're telling them, stop crying, I'm going to give you something to cry about. That's how I was raised, you know? And that just teaches you to bottle your emotions. That teaches you to take away your most powerful force is your feeling, your heart, your emotion is like your soul, like what you feel. That is so powerful that you can alchemize that energy and turn it into something else. Turn it into art, you know, and creation. It's wild that in all of my learning, I've read at this point over 200 something books. I've done all kinds of classes, spent tens of thousands of dollars in training, probably way more than that. And the real lesson, the real thing that I'm really needing to learn is to learn how to become more like a child, to learn how to love like a child, to learn how to express like a child, to learn how to feel the way that a child feels, to be my absolute self before the adults told me that being all of me wasn't okay. Isn't it so ironic that in my becoming an adult and learning so many things in life, that returning back to being more like a child is the path, is the way. That's what the whole deal of this mastermind is. It's called Artist Power Expressed. And when he says artist, he's not meaning musical artist or painter or creator. He's meaning the artist as in that inner child, that inner you. And it's been the greatest, deepest, most profound 8 weeks of my life so far in this container. And we're heading into a retreat in October, and we're doing this event in Austin that we're putting on as part of the mastermind. There's been so much growth. I've grown a family. Like, these people that are in this mastermind are closer to me than most of my family is to me. They know things that nobody in my life has ever known about me. And I know things that no one else in their life. It's just incredible that you can meet strangers and connect in such a deep way inside of a sacred space and container, and have new possibilities for what you understand as community and love between people. It's insane. And while I started this message around heartbreak and all of these things, I'm sitting on the beach, taking in this experience, looking at the wildlife around me. There's a crab that's been poking around. There's these little sprouts. It's like this new little life out of a barren area of the beach. Out sprouts this little new sprout. And it's so symbolic that all of my life, all of the things that I've been going through, all of the hardships and trials and traumas and hard, difficult things are all clearing the way for new growth. All of these seeds that I've planted years ago are starting to show that they're ready to sprout. And in all of this, my heart's vocabulary is being redefined. You know, I'm refining my heart's vocabulary for what I want in life and love, friendships and partnerships and community, where I live, and all of these things. And that is magic. I think that's what I have for today. I hope that if you're in the midst of a heartbreak, or if you've had a heartbreak and you've never actually fully felt into it, that you consider what gifts there are inside of the lessons that you've learned, inside of the experiences that you've had, and how you can allow yourself to feel all of that and alchemize that. Do something creative. Try it. Try painting. Try drawing. Try dancing. Try singing. Be bad at it. Just allow yourself to be like a child and express. Because there's so much healing in that. And I'm sure that, the waves of sadness that I have felt over the last weeks, sometimes it's daily, where it's just up and down, like this is not the end of that, what is perceived as negative, but it is. I do have a path forward. I do have tools. I do have the ability to breathe through it, to allow myself to feel all of it, and to alchemize that. And it's helping me to be a bigger, more expressed version of myself. And with that, I want to leave everybody. If nobody's told you today, you're fucking awesome, and that you are loved, then just know that. You're fucking awesome, and I love you. Blessings.